say. If not, then I will say it myself.
So, principles similar to my Biju bombs. First of all, that's really, really, really cool as a callback to the Minato manga, where the base Rasengan was invented out of inspiration of the Biju bomb. That being said, Ikimoto is undoubtedly not referencing that.
Not only that, well, I'll do the shorter thing first. So the last panel, I don't agree with Boruto. Uzuhiko does work on Jura. He's just able to undo it, but he still has to do that extra step. Boruto could still use this as a tactic to force Jura to undo Uzuhiko instead of doing something else. In theory, like he could do something. For example, instead of telling Jura all about Uzuhiko, he could have chopped his head off while he was busy undoing it.
Whereas, yes. I'm not going to criticize Boruto or Ikimoto here for saying Uzuhiko doesn't work.
I'm just saying I disagree with him.
I disagree with him literally, but I don't think he means it literally.
Yeah. I also agree with that.
Okay. Just want to make sure we're clear on that one, because otherwise, I feel like that is crossing the line of just being a hater. Okay, so we're good. So he's able to nullify it because it follows principles similar to his Biju bombs.
Well, so then we have to get into that whole discussion. So I said, I think you agree, it's cool to have Jura counter the Uzuhiko's effects. But, Oodie, I'm going to ask you a question. Does that explanation even make sense? Before I elaborate, let's hear your answer.
Here's my problem with it. Let's just go with the Rasen Shuriken as an example, because I think that's the easiest way to break down this concept. Let's say that Jura is able to do the same thing to the Rasen Shuriken if he's hit by the Rasen Shuriken. So he's going to be hit by the Rasen Shuriken, and the Rasen Shuriken's going to hit him, and the Rasen Shuriken's going to deal damage. But then Jura's chakra network is going to be severed because of the pin-like needles on the cellular level that attack him at the cellular level to attack his cells at the cellular level, and it's poison-like almost. So Jura is, and it makes no sense, but based on what Jura is saying, Jura could undo the effects of his chakra network being severed by the pin-like needles. That doesn't make sense because that is a byproduct or after effect of the Rasengan, which is the thing that is similar to his Biju bomb. Jura isn't undoing Boruto's Uzuhiko. He's undoing the dizziness left by the Uzuhiko.
So that's not even my thing yet. Let's see if we can get into the same direction. So
I see what you did there. Go ahead, please.
What specific principles do you think Jura means are similar between Uzuhiko and Biju bombs? I'll go ahead and mention this, that I definitely don't think that Jura is specifically using the centrifugal forces from the rotation of the planet in his Tail Beast bomb. I think we can agree on that, right? We can probably just rule that out.
Probably. Okay. I mean, it's still possible, but probably.
It's possible, yes. But I don't think he's using the...
I mean, well, it depends if we include the retcons of Naruto of the Ten Tails being purely nature energy or not. But that's besides the point.
Well, even that, Uzuhiko doesn't use nature energy. It's specifically stated, so...
Okay. It's energy from nature. Earth. Centrifugal force.
So, my question is, what principle do you think it is that these two share in common?
So, I don't think it's rotation. I do not think tailed beast bombs rotate in either sphere
Okay.
after their shot or during their
Glad you're
creation.
saying that. They don't use rotation. They just verbatim don't use rotation. We literally see the jutsu. Tail beast bombs, we literally see them be formed on countless occasions. They're just not being rotated. You see the blue and red bubbles compressed together. So the compression, the tail beast bombs and Rasengan both have compression and they're both ball shaped. We all know these things. These are in common between them. And sorry, viewers, but I'm not gonna mute for this. It's just gonna be loud as I go off downstairs for a second. Okay. Yeah, so they share those in common. Uzuhiko, on the other hand, it's not using the 80-20 ratio of tail beast chakra to human chakra point. It doesn't have tail beast chakra. It's not doing that. Uzuhiko, if it's using compression, it's not using compression because it's literally as uncompressed as those swirls can possibly be. He's not compressing them into. He's not using compression, bro. So it's not compression. It's not rotation. It's not the 80-20 thing. What else is there? So I ask, okay, now there is a caveat. He says it seems to follow principles similar to my Biju bombs. Are Jura's Biju bombs just vastly different from normal ones? Because, like I said, the normal Biju bomb doesn't use rotation. It's compression, blah, blah, blah. Is it because Jura specifically uses the planet's chakra? The problem is he's not using nature energy. Well, the planet's chakra isn't nature energy. And Jura's not using the centrifugal forces thing. So, how did Jura's Biju bombs work? Does Ikinono know?
So,
Does Ikinono know what a Biju bomb is?
I'm going to present a possibility to you. It's possible. Not likely. It is less than 1% chance, but it's possible. Held beast bombs just do rotate when they're done forming. I have evidence for this because I
have one scene in particular that I did want to come to if you don't come to it. But the problem is I only know it from the anime view, and it's the anime.
Yeah.
I'll say that after, but
okay. So first of all, I don't think this can count for anything, but KCM Naruto on Turtle Island, when he's first trying to make the tailed beast bomb, he's making it like in his hand. Same as like when he actually does it in the work. It's like, I forget exactly the name of the jutsu, but he's making the tailed beast bomb Rasengan. And I'm wondering if that version of it rotates.
It didn't, even though we don't not in the anime, it just compressed.
Do they actually say that, or is it just, are you just going based off visuals?
Going based off visuals, it wasn't rotate. So I'm trying to find the tail beast bomb in the data book.
Yeah, but it's a black orb. If it's rotating, then it's possible we just don't know. Based off the visuals. Like, I feel like if it doesn't rotate in that version specifically as a Rasengan, they could directly call that out as like a difference. They could do that. Like, for example, Naruto could be commenting, it's heavy, but because I don't need to focus on rotating, I can focus entirely on the weight in order to balance it out, in order to get it in the future. Be saying something like that, but doesn't do that. I'm not using that as definitive proof or anything, just pointing in a direction. But I think something that's a lot more solid. This isn't a tailed beast bomb, but right before Madara casts the Infinite Tsukiyomi, Naruto makes Rasen shurikens and replaces the middle with his Truth Seeker orbs. So it's rotating Truth Seeker orbs. I mean, it's basically the same idea there in essence. I don't know if the Rasen shuriken is doing anything specific though.
I'll unshare your screen, so I'll just share the screen for your sake.
Okay, well, the last one is the most obvious one, and I'm assuming that's where you're going, is going to be the Madara example to where he's putting the swords inside of his tailed beast bombs when he fights Hashirama.
Okay, no. What I was going to show you was actually the data book of tailed beast bomb, but I will quickly show you this other thing. I'm going to see how it looks in the manga. It actually was going to be Killer Bee's debut of the Tail Beast Bomb against Sasuke.
Okay.
The way it was in the anime did kind of swirl as it formed, I'm pretty sure. It was black too. It just doesn't look the same as it ever looks again. So like it's like this is the anime's first time showing this thing. And I will just dismiss it as the first time it does it. And it's just isn't the case in the manga. It just is compression here. So
I mean, I don't think the formation is necessarily as important as you're making it out to be.
Well, when the Rasengan forms, it's rotating.
But more importantly...
That's not necessarily what I meant. Because the balls going into it might not be rotating, but the ball itself might just be, even though the balls going into it aren't.
I mean, I know what you're trying to say, but I think this data book definitely is implying it doesn't rotate in a way. So, first of all, it's the data book. It should just explain rotation. That's an actual part of it, right? So, we'll just take turns reading things. It is a ninjutsu in which shape transformation is applied to the chakra in the user's mouth, then being compressed and released at once, to then be blah, blah, blah.
You aren't sharing your screen. You're not sharing your screen.
Hold on. Make sure I'm sharing my screen for OBS. Okay. Okay. It is a ninjutsu in which shape transformation is applied to the user's chakra in the user's mouth, then being compressed and released at once. No mention of rotation. The black chakra, the tail bees, positive, interesting, white chakra. But anyway, the ratio of 8:2, blah, blah, blah. This is just for the tail beast thing. Rasengan shape transformation resembles that of tail beast ball. The two jutsu look alike in the shape transformation part, being the ball. The concept of Rasengan and Amino is based on the tail beast ball. The idea behind rotation is to bring stability to the shape of chakra, a hint that helped Naruto understand that, well, that makes this tricky. Is this actually saying... See, it's weird, though, because it sounds like it's saying that for Minato, the idea behind rotation is to bring stability to the shape of the chakra. And that hint helped Naruto understand the tail beast ball. Like, did Naruto use rotation in his tail beast ball, but not anyone else?
The tail beast ball.
I don't know, because again, it's not mentioning it there.
You go back to the thing, the idea behind rotation. The idea behind rotation is to bring stability to the shape of the chakra, a hint that helped Naruto understand the tailed beast ball.
Well, first of all, when does...
So, okay, just as my analogy, just to say what I was saying earlier, if you just have a vortex of water below you, like the hole is rotating in a circle, and you have a cup of water and you drop the cup straight down into the vortex is going to continue spinning, but it's going to have that volume of liquid added to it, even though it was added straight down into it.
Say that again. Sorry, I was very distracted.
If you have a vortex of water and you drop a cup of water into it, the vortex is going to keep spinning. It's just going to have more water, even though the water was dropped straight down into it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, see, okay, look. We need to go find this in the manga, because according to this trivia, and it's Naruto Beer, we'll check the link and try to find it, but he based a Rasengan off the tail beast ball. Killer Bee observes that the process for forming a Rasengan is the same as forming a tail beast ball, with its chakra rotation acting as a substitute for the tail beast form. In other words, he's saying Minato used rotation with the Rasengan as a substitute for tail beastness.
Yeah. So click on that thing, the
519, pages 16 to 17. Oh, it wasn't too far off.
Because we're going to check this in the manga, because this is going to make or break. Because that's saying it doesn't use rotation.
Well, real quick, I'll also add, I don't think this necessarily even matters necessarily because the Uzuhiko isn't a ball. I'd barely even call it a spiral, more like a helix. And that's obviously not a Telpi's anything at all in any regard. But we'll check this anyways.
Yeah, I said page 19. I guess that's probably later in the chapter, but...
Oh, Kishimoto said a lot of stuff in this chapter, to be fair.
Yeah.
But we'll check it.
Pull in your mouth, compress it, and release it. Yeah.
Probably in the form of a rap as well.
Okay, yeah. It prepares when to do the chakra mission, when to perform the rotation, compression, and containment of the change in form. And then mentions doing this stuff.
It's like a Biju bomb.
Rotation, compression, containment of the change in form. He's referencing what Naruto said. With the Kage, what a coincidence. It's completely the same. It must have been. Yeah, see, look, it's easy to achieve in Biju state, but when still human, the change in form is difficult, almost impossible. If you add rotation, that makes it more plausible. So what he's basically saying is, that adding rotation, like Minato's Rasengan, maybe you, Naruto, can do the Biju bomb.
Yeah.
By basically saying, by adding rotation, maybe you can skip Biju mode.
Yeah.
But that means
so
the normal tail beast bomb doesn't do that.
Yes, but real quick, let's just go to Naruto's like future training in the next chapter or later in this chapter or wherever. Is he spinning the blue and red chakra as he's making it? We just don't see.
Can't tell with that.
At least his hands are doing it. Okay, no, it just is going straight in.
Yeah.
So we saw in the previous panel.
He seems stuck on the ratio.
Panel, his hands. Yeah, the previous panel, his hands were doing the rotation thing before the compression. Yeah, there's a compression. There, his hands are, in my opinion, doing the rotation thing. So here, they're probably doing the same thing. He's probably doing the rotation as well. He just can't get
trying to, yeah. But again, what he's trying to do is skip Biju mode by replacing it with rotation because that's B's theory on the Rasengan, basically.
Yeah.
And that's also what the data book's saying. And that's what it means by the hint. It's just, that's the hint for how he might be able to do this in human form. But it was kind of just too hard for him. I mean, in theory, this kind of means that in theory, Naruto could have learned to do it. I think he might actually do this later on once he befriends Kurama, but regardless. But he needs to replace Biju mode with rotation, basically.
Yeah, but he only does it like once and it does nothing anyways.
Yeah. But regardless.
Stupid. I really should have done something. But what that tells me, at the very least, based on what we saw, Naruto's trying to add rotation, and he is, in my opinion, but the compression is still going straight down into it, so that tells me anytime we see the Tail Beast Ball be formed, whether it's through rotation or not, it's still going to be formed the same way, to where the blue and red chakra is just going to go straight down into it. Well, so that doesn't help us indicate whether Jura's is rotating it or not, visually anyways.
Okay, your visual thing, yes, but in terms of what's actually happening, no, because the point is that to make the change in form, you have to use rotation if you're not in Biju mode for Naruto, or if you're doing a Rasengan. But they just aren't
Kamui.
doing that in any of the cases. In this case, you could just argue
Kamui.
Naruto's trying, but failing.
Kamui, you're going to hate this argument. Jura isn't just a tree.
Yeah, he is a Biju.
He's human, though.
But he is a Biju, so he's in Biju mode.
But he's human.
But he's a Biju.
How do you know he's in Biju mode? Blue Star,
because he's always a Biju. Oh, but remember, Oodie, he's a divine tree, though. Remember, he's not a 10 tails. He's not a tail beast. He's evolved. He's a divine tree, but he's a tail beast.
Do you think Jura can go out of Tailed Beast mode?
Well, it depends on what day of the week it is for Ikimoto. Is he Divine Tree that week, or is he a Biju that week?
Well, let's see what Blue Star has to say about that.
Hello.
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 Hello. I've got like 20 minutes to spare since I'm on a sort of lunch break, but surprised you guys
at this point.
So you're talking about Jura being a Biju or a divine tree, right?
Well, that's mostly just a joke. But
okay.
What we were really talking about was how the Tail Beast Bomb doesn't use rotation, and Uzuhiko doesn't use the 80-20 ratio of Tail Beast Chakra to Human Chakra. It doesn't use compression. So, and Jura's definitely not using the planet's centrifugal forces. So, what principles do the Uzuhiko and Tail Beast Bomb have in common? I mean, obviously, the simple answer I said earlier, Jura's Biju Bombs can just be different. In that case, Jura's Biju Bombs just can use rotation. But then they should be specifying that they're unique.
Okay. That's a complicated mechanics, got it. But yeah. See, from my understanding, aren't like the divine trees technically parts of the 10 tails, so they're technically a tailed beast?
Yeah, but the divine trees, remember?
Oh god, we're still sharing your screen.
Oh. Oh
well. But my understanding, they're supposed to be divine trees mixed with like human DNA.
Well, the problem is it depends on the day of the week for Ikimoto, because they're supposed to be divine trees. Yes, obviously in all cases it is the human aspect, but they're supposed to be divine trees. They've evolved past tentails, but at the same time, they're tentails trying to become divine trees. So which is it?
Well, my debunk to this is going to be what I was saying earlier, that if you want to pull it up now, when Madara fights Hashirama, Madara puts his Susanoo swords in Kurama, you know, the pure-tailed beast who isn't human at all. Even if he has humanity, at this point he's a monster. He's under Genjutsu. The tailed beast...
beast bomb with the 80-20 ratio that makes no sense.
Ignoring that, so Madara puts his Susanoo swords in the Biju Bomb of Kurama, and then Kurama launches Biju Bomb, and that Beast Bomb is obviously sick.
I remember that.
So I want to double check.
I think you're looking for volume 65 for that one.
Wait, are you not talking about the flashback fight, Oodie?
Yeah, no, it's in volume 65.
Oh, volume 6. Oh, I don't know volumes. We're looking at chapter numbers. I guess it's... Okay, we have this.
Oh, I mean, at the very least, they're spinning there. But I'm thinking of the one where it's like aimed at Hashirama.
The first one.
And you probably want the chapter when the fight first began.
That'd be here. Okay, so at the very least, he's forming it. In a way, you could argue some of those are spiraling, kinda.
No, these aren't circular speed lines. These are straight lines.
Well, it's because it's going in that direction. I was talking about
when a Rasengan spiral, it still has circular spirals.
I was talking about the blue and red going in the formation.
Oh, like this?
Also, we should the Minato manga, because I think those are spiraling into it too. But either way, let's keep on this first.
Okay.
Well, that's kind of the end of that. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, that one's definitely spiraling. Yeah, but okay, but next one, he's putting the sword in the Susanoo. So what happens after this? Yeah, so he just launches it and it just already is spinning, seemingly.
Yeah, he's
we
spinning the sword. Like,
we don't have an explanation for how it's spinning necessarily. It just already is.
Yeah.
I was hoping we would see.
If I had to guess, Kishimoto's was just more of doing a rule of cool there rather than see if they have any reasonable logic.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. But at the very least, it does definitely show Karaba's tailed beast bombs can spin.
Well, the Rasengan was based off of tailed beast bombs, so there should be similar. And Naruto can create tailed beast Rasengan, but
well, see, the problem though is Killer B explains that in the data book is that the rotation essentially is a replacement for Biju mode. Rotation helps the stability for the Rasengan. I don't understand how this really makes sense, but I don't understand what being a Biju mode makes the change of chakra form doable, but it just does apparently. The Rasengan rotation helps maintain the form. Biju bombs don't normally have rotation. It's really hard. So B's theorizing, oh, if you add rotation, maybe you'll be able to do it without Biju mode. Naruto's saying it's harder because, well, the rest of Tail B's bomb's hard. But
it might just make it less heavy. Maybe.
No, I don't think so. I think maybe it just was too heavy anyway, though. Is the thing.
And by that, I don't mean it decreases its mass. I mean, what's a good example? It's almost like a helicopter, and not like exactly, but if you get the idea.
Mm-hmm.
Like it could like be supporting its own self through its momentum going upwards to some extent through some of it in a weird way.
I don't know.
Rather than it being just like sinking like a dead weight.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's weird. Either way.